It is my greatest pleasure to continue studies in core literature with you. As far as literary devices are concerned, we looked at simile, metaphor, personification, exaggeration in our previous lessons. Today we'll be looking at euphemism. What do we mean by euphemism? Euphemism has to do with the use of mild expressions, indirect statements, or less offensive words to express things that are unpleasant, things that are offensive, or things that are harsh. So you want to talk about something like death. You would not be straightforward and tell someone that, oh, who sister, and now mommy, you can say that. You want to use mild expressions. You would like to use indirect statement to express this thing that is unpleasant. Death is what nobody wishes for him or herself. And therefore, in order to present this to someone, to break the news to someone, you have to use some expressions that are indirect, that are less offensive, so that the havoc that the person might have done to himself perhaps might be usurped. So, euphemism has to do with the use of mild expressions to express things that are harsh and unpleasant. We have his father walks among the dead. If you watch this particular movie, Atlantis, you realize that this is what the oracle told Jason. He said, your father walks among the dead. And so, instead of saying that your father is dead, he used this expression in order to what? To perhaps reduce the pain the person might have caused him or herself. The student sought permission to go and pass water. To pass water means that to urinate. So instead of one saying that I'm going to urinate, those days, primary students are by them say, I want to go and urinate. I mean, no, this is unpleasant. So we expect that we use expressions like this. That is euphemism at play. We also have the land would be flowing with the blood of all the big men. If you have read this particular book, No Sweetness Here, specifically From Whom Things Did Not Change, that is the second chapter of No Sweetness Here by Ama Ateidu. You realize that there was a conversation between Zirigu and that of Setu. And when they were having the conversation, Zirigu said that the land would be flowing with the blood of all the big men. He's talking about big men in society who are doing awful things for their selfish parochial interest. And therefore, he is wishing this on them. And that is a use of, as what? A euphemism. He wouldn't say it directly. He also says that I knew a big man was doing something unholy or doing unholy things with her. He's talking about a young girl who is going out with an old man. And then instead of saying this straightforward, he's saying that I knew a big man was doing unholy things with her. So that is about the use of euphemism. We also have the old man has passed on. Excuse me, and may his soul rest in perfect peace. Atamios, President Atamios, or the late, when he passed on, the bulletin on all the stations, we have the TV stations, you have to see this. The man has passed on, has passed on. Some of us might have not understand it, but later we found out that it has to do with death, the demise of someone, or the demise of someone. So, the old man has passed on. We are expressing euphemism. We are also talking about rhetorical question, and this is where it becomes interesting. Someone can just call you at night and ask you 12 o'clock and say, kwejo na wada, debi minya betie. How could you do that? You call someone at 12 and say, wadana. Recently, when Nanado was addressing Ghanaians, and remember, the use of address here should be very exciting. Now, when you say address, you are talking about the noun. So Nanado will give an address to Ghanaians. All right, give me your email address. But when you are using the verb, then you will say that Nanado is addressing Ghanaians, or Nanado will address Ghanaians. That is the verb. When he was about to address Ghanaians, someone just entered the room and was asking if Nanado was starting, or see there or the bench. You just imagine questions like this. So we have rhetorical questions before we have irrelevant questions. Rhetorical questions are questions that are not meant to be answered because the answers are already known by the speaker and even they are spoken to. And so when one asks it, even though it's a question, it is not meant to be answered because the answer is already expressed in the question. Someone just asks you, are you crazy? Just imagine you are having a heated argument. He has already said it. You don't need to answer that, yes, I'm crazy. No, you cannot say that. So that is about that. One of the things that has to do with rhetorical question is what happens in relationship, or if like marriage, especially the women. You can just look at you, my husband, what is between you? What is between Adwa and you? Basketball. So rhetorical questions are not meant to be answered. We have a few examples here. Is there no limit to your ignorance? Once again, the movie titled, or the series titled Atlantis, there was a conversation between, I think, Pythagoras and that of one of the big men in the movie. And so he said that, is there no limit to your ignorance? Someone is asking this question, is telling you, or is asking you this. Oh, what are you going to say? He has already said that your foolishness is legendary, or your ignorance is beyond compare. He has said it already. Do I care? Someone said, do I care? This is a statement. Even though it's a question, it doesn't require an answer. That is what rhetorical questions are meant to be. We also have, what is wrong with young girls going out with men old enough to be their grandfathers? Once again, Zirigu said this in Low Sweetness here, for whom things did not change. He said it in that particular story, that what is wrong with young girls going out with old men, or men old enough to be their fathers or grandfathers? This has to do with question, but you don't need to answer this, because he has expressed it, talking about young girls who need flashy things, and these flashy things are the preserve of these rich people. And since these young girls also need them, what do? They go out with them and get what they want. And they say that use what you have to get what you want. That is about that. This statement is not meant to be answered. These are all rhetorical questions. Repetition is another figure of speech that we'll be looking at. When we talk about repetition, we are talking about the expression of an idea using the same words or different words to express the same idea. So expressing one idea, you are using different words to do so, or if you like, synonyms to do so. When that happens, we call it repetition. It may also be referred to as parallelism, because one idea is expressed using different words to do so. We have, he teased me, he derided me, he also what? Excoriated me. These words might be similar in meaning, and so they are all expressing the same thing. The same idea is being expressed. We have the man who stood all pressure. He bore all the consequences and even did what? Embraced all the shame. All these are expressing the same idea. And so that is about repetition. We also have, I am famished. If you are famished, it's the same as being hungry. It's the same as being ravenous. And it's the same as starvation becoming a friend to you. So you see that you are using different words or different phrases to express the same idea. And that is what we mean by repetition. So repetition has to do with emphasis. You want people to realize the emphasis you are making. And so saying that you are famished, you continue to say you are ravenous. And then you also say that starvation is becoming what? A friend to you. Then people realize that, this guy is serious, because you are emphasizing what you are saying. In a movie, you realize that someone can call the daughter or the son, Kofi, Kofi, Kofi. Then he asks you, how many times did I call you? Then you answer maybe 3 times. You realize that the mention of the name 3 times connotes what? Emphasis. He wants to emphasize something. Perhaps Kofi has done something wrong, and he wants Kofi to realize the error he has committed or the anomaly. Therefore, he mentions the name 3 times. Sometimes husbands can do so, or wives can do so. He calls the husband, honey, 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 3 times, and you realize that something is happening or something is about to happen. And so all these are what we call repetition. Now let us look at pan. Pan has to do with the use of one word that has different meanings in different contexts. So in grammar or in syntax, this is called lexical ambiguity, where lexeme means a word. And so if a word is used in different contexts, then that is called lexical ambiguity, the word having different meanings. So that is pan in literature. We have a word like bill, which could mean money, could mean an information. You go to a place and a house, you see something like post no bill. If you dare come and post your whatever there, you are in trouble. And so it's an information to you, post no bill. We also have utility, as in bill. And it could easily even become a law. After the president has appended his signature, or has signed, or has written his name, then a bill becomes a law. Therefore, bill has 4 meanings. So you can use bill in 4 different contexts. That is what we mean by pan. We also have court, which could be the basketball court. It could also be the law court, or even the baby court. We also have gay, which could mean man and man. It could also mean happiness. When you say Juliet Ibrahim is fair, or Dumas is fair, what do you mean? Do you mean that is just, she is just, sorry, or you are talking about the complexion? So you see that this word can be used in those 2 contexts. We also have becoming. Today you tell someone that you are becoming, and becoming could not only mean he becoming something, as in doing something, but it could also mean charming. So you can say that, oh, Nana Banamba is becoming. Where becoming here is an adjective referring to charming, when someone is beautiful. All right. Or the dress you are putting on is becoming. Perhaps the dress you are putting on is smart or something. Or it being a verb. And you know this is auxiliary verb, to become, to appear, and to taste or something. So that is about words and their different use in different contexts. That is what you mean by pun.
Papa me nine, me come me cry. I see how far me the brush is a pry. In Colanada, Bema Musun die. Sister fella say me koda she's tired. Mami bodono, Papa did that what he met your